Hey, Mr. Carnahan. I just wanted to see how the new script was coming.
It's going fantastic! I mean, I had to, throw out everything, basically. This other dude, I don't know what he was thinking. He wanted them to be, slow zombies. He wanted there to be, interviews with, other people who weren't white. It was what? Man! But so, I've got this, awesome white dude in it. He's gonna fucking save the day. It's gonna be amazing. It's phenomenal. Those emotions you're feeling, I can see them on your face. That's exactly the kind of reaction I want this audience to have. I've never actually gone for emotions in the things I've read before, but I think this is a really cool new chapter in my career. Better than all the other amazing things I've already done.
Thank you, Mr. Carnahan.
Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba.
Hey, I'm Mama Smiley, and this is The Book Was Better, where we compare some of our favorite films to the books they are based on, for better or for worse. Did you guys notice that the zombie fad kinda died? It seems so, sudden. Our fixation on the living dead seemed to be such a superpower. It's weird to realize it's just suddenly over. In the late 80s and early 90s, Romero was the zombie king, making film after film that dominated horror. Then, after the 1990 release of Night of the Living Dead, we saw a sudden drop in the zombie genre. It was almost like filmmakers were intimidated or scared to step into Romero's shoes. Then, in 2002, we got 28 Days Later, a tight, tense, astoundingly executed return to the genre, introducing runners to the zombie mythos. After its release, we started to see a little bit of a trickle of zombies coming back into the mainstream, with the Resident Evil franchise seeing more attention than ever. I Am Legend continuing the new tradition of reworking the zombie rules, and Shaun of the Dead making a huge joke of it all, steadily turning our fascination with the undead into affection. They became our favorite cannon fodder in video games, and our favorite metaphor for human detachment in books, comics, and films. The floodgates opened in 2009 with the release of Zombieland, which expertly towed the line between tense, relatable drama and the likely absurdity of a zombie apocalypse. After that, it was a free-for-all. The Walking Dead might as well have been endorsed by Obama. Dozens of AAA video games began releasing zombie mods, allowing familiar heroes to contend with infected hordes, and we saw countless zombie-themed events, from raves to 5Ks. But then it all ended. Stickers of zombie families sit crumbling in minivan windows, and we haven't had a blockbuster zombie movie in months. That Schwarzenegger thing notwithstanding, we'll find out. What happened? What chased away the golden glow of our love for zombies? This movie. This movie is what happened. In 2013, Paramount Studios released World War Z, a $200 million trash heap supposedly based on the best-selling novel by Max Brooks, son of comedy legend Mel Brooks. And what resulted was the jarring death of the zombie genre. The movie actually has a pretty interesting production history. When rights to the book were initially put up for bid, both Plan B and AP Way Studios, owned by Brad Pitt and Leo DiCaprio respectively, went to war over it. I like to think DiCaprio would have won that Oscar if he'd gotten the role. But Plan B got the rights. There was a single ray of hope when J. Michael Straczynski, who wrote for Babylon 5 and actually wrote the book on screenwriting, was announced to be doing the screenplay. A draft of his script was actually leaked fairly early on, and generally it was adored. Ain't It Cool News even suggested it looked like Best Picture material. People were pumped. I happened to get my hands on a copy of Straczynski's treatment, and I loved what I saw. It followed Brad Pitt as Max Brooks' character from the book, doing interviews with survivors of the zombie war, similarly to the setup of the book. So, guess what they did? They scrapped it and replaced him with Matthew Carnahan, whose only noteworthy achievement is Lions for Lambs. And I've never actually met anybody who's seen that movie. Carnahan completely reworked the script, resulting in the whitewashed, used adult diaper of a train wreck that was World War Z. I'm sorry, I don't like to show my hand this early, but this movie goddamn pisses me off. You see, I'm a really big fan of the book. Everyone I know who's ever read it is a really big fan of the book. It follows Max Brooks as a journalist working for the UN who's setting together an after-action report on the zombie war approximately 10 years after the fact. What follows is the story of 43 individuals from different backgrounds, religions, and countries whose stories piece together a world unprepared for a disaster like this. It covers socioeconomics, political tension, and misleading media coverage that kept people blind and distracted until the dead were literally banging down their doors. This book is incredible. Every chapter just rings with the personality of the individual narrator. It shows just so well the fear, the anger, the confusion, and either the hope or despair that every person feels when they're given the choice to fight or die. I cried 38 pages into this book, and I'm generally considered to be a heartless monster. The movie, on the other hand, gave me only 2 emotions: betrayal and steadily simmering rage. Released in theaters in 2013, the movie can be fairly summed up with a single vowel. Following the story of Brad Pitt as Gary Lane as he... Jerry. That's stupid, and actually saying that it's pronounced Jeff. Don't say. No way. You are screwing with me. So Gary is a retired UN investigator living with his adoring, lovely family in a lovely home with some lovely pancakes and a lovely Kurt Cobain haircut. We learn next to nothing about his wife, children, or personality before they're dumped headfirst into the most rushed zombie riot I've ever seen. Their escape is rushed, the explanation of the situation is rushed, even the speed of the infection is rushed. Usually, by the 10-minute mark, we've got some sort of insight into the characters or the world in which they live. But no, this movie is so scared of losing our attention that it just throws in some zombies as fast as it can! It feels like an insult to the world that Brooks built. In the book, the zombie infection can take days to take full effect. But this movie makes it take all of 12 seconds. Wouldn't it be more suspenseful to see the mystery of what's happening be slowly revealed? But suspense would be a sign of good filmmaking, and we certainly can't have any of that.
It's big, it's epic, it's global, and it's really good fun. Really good fun.
And there's no foreplay with this movie either. Like, you start to hey kids, get in the car, and then bam, it's zombie time.
Don't you hate that though? We gotta set up, we gotta explain who they were, and we're waiting 15 minutes when we know the Titanic's going down. Let's just get to it, man.
So Gary and his lovely, adoring family steal an RV and go in search of supplies after one of his daughters starts having an asthma attack. A condition we only know about because of a single line of ham-handed dialogue in the first 5 minutes. Okay, so there is a scene in the grocery store that I almost like. After getting the asthma medication, Gary returns to the front of the store to find his wife being attacked. He kills one of the attackers before realizing a cop saw the whole thing. He raises his hands to surrender, only for the cop to brush past him and start looting a shelf of baby food. I did say I almost like it. While it does do a good job of displaying how quickly Law & Order has crumbled, and does a good job of humanizing the cop, it's just such a ham-handed, easy choice for the filmmaker to make. We could have had the chapter of the book where the Chinese submariners went against everything they were ever taught and all of their training to smuggle their families onto the submarine and go AWOL to protect them from infection. But no, this book just insists on spoon-feeding us. As they escape, Gary gets a call from some unknown former colleague who offers to pick the family up via chopper, so long as they can find a pickup point. The next scene of significance has a lot of potential. While searching for a high enough pickup point, Gary's family encounters a Latino family barricaded in their apartment. Now, this could have been a cool scene where the language barrier forces the two families to find new ways to communicate, like this Daisy fan film! Or else have the children's grade school grasp of the other family's language be relied on by the parents. Instead, we find out Pitt's character speaks some Spanish, and the Latino's family son is bilingual, removing the struggle entirely. It's just really exhausting to be thought of so shabbily by a movie that it feels the need to remove any sort of conflict other than the one in the title. The next relevant scene takes place aboard some U.S. ship in the middle of the ocean, where Gary's former colleague tries to convince him to join the search for the cure, in the most cliché way possible.
I'm retired. You have the skills we need. I have a family now. You're our only hope. You're not really giving me a choice, are you?
Long story short, Gary ends up escorting a young M. Night Shyamalan who believes he can figure out a cure. When they arrive in the army bunker, we see the only scene in this movie that has anything to do with the book. A young Chinese boy appears to be Patient Zero, attacking and infecting several people in his proximity before being tied to a hospital bed and eventually executed. And you know, that scene is from the first chapter of the book. So I have to assume that Carnahan read the first chapter, assumed that he had it under control, and went the 12-year-old cheating on a book report route by saying, "Oh yeah, I read the whole book." And this is where I started to get confused. Why did Shyamalan have to die? Why did he die in such a punk way? Where is he going? Who are those guys? Who is that guy? Why is Furiosa in the tank? Why is Furiosa in the tank? They're in Jerusalem, and apparently they're going to talk to a guy, and the walls surrounding the city are no match for the Titan... Zombie towers. Zombie towers. I feel like this movie is hitting all the right points, but it doesn't understand why it's saying the things it's saying, or how to say them properly, for that matter. What would be a neat chase scene follows, only it's so sloppily edited that I can barely tell, oh shit, it is Furiosa! So do this movie and Fury Road take place in the same universe? Like, maybe these bullshit fast zombies are what really killed the world. Pitt and the future Imperator manage to get on an escaping plane, where he shows yet another thing he's awesome at. Field treating amputees. After acknowledging that he had no idea if cutting off her hand would save her, the scene is stolen by the world's most camera-friendly chihuahua, who alerts them to zombies in coach. The plane crashes and Gary gets a piece of shrapnel in his gut, which would maybe be interesting if he wasn't just an inhuman badass who managed, despite his wounds, to carry himself and Furiosa to the World Health Organization, before finally collapsing and only coming to win. Holy shit, is that Peter Capaldi? Oh, I get it. Doctor Who at the Who. That's more clever than the rest of this movie put together. Because he's also a sick detective, Pitt realizes that the zombies ignore anybody who already has a terminal illness, which, like everything else in this joke of a movie, has nothing to do with the book. He convinces the Who doctors... Man, that is weird to say backwards. He convinces the Who doctors to help him get to a wing of the building thus far overrun by zombies. Alright, let me give you guys a little context here. I'm a huge fan of this book, so I was there on opening night, the first possible showing, praying for the best and expecting the worst. But nothing could have prepared me for this. We weren't ready. We weren't ready. This movie cost $200 million. Where's all that money? Not in this shot, that's for sure. This scene, that noise, was the moment I realized that one of my favorite books had been utterly destroyed. There was no turning back. By then it was too late to even go back to the box office and get my money back. Gary magically cures himself and saves the day by apparently infecting the whole world with typhoid or something. But who cares? Gary saves the world, and the stories of dozens of vastly more interesting survivors from vastly more interesting universe are completely ignored.
Yeah, but was the book better?
In case I hadn't made it completely clear, the book was better. Hell yes! Hell fucking yes! This movie is tripe. Don't give Pitt or Paramount a single goddamn penny, even ironically. I don't care if he's just an actor. His production company took one of the most amazing, immersive, heartbreaking stories I've ever had the pleasure of reading, and watered it down until it was nothing but a shitty action movie with another boring white guy saving his boring white family. The characters are shit, the editing is shit, the writing is shit, and Matt Bellamy from Muse was supposed to be involved in the music, but I didn't catch any of that until the credits song. don't buy this movie. If you aren't into reading, get the audiobook. Mark Hamill's in it, and it's won like a ton of awards. It's really good. I'm Madam Smiley, and this is The Book Was Better. Bye.
You're all gonna die screaming. All we wanna do is eat your brains. We're not unreasonable. I mean, no one's gonna eat your eyes.